All right, cool. I think we're live. Let me address this. Going to be a very intensive session today. Might be long, it might be short, I'm not sure, depending on when my mom calls me. But let's make the most of this. I mean, for the last 2 hours I have been grinding. I completely forgot to even stream. Um, I'm going back and forth, back and forth. I'm in Claude, I'm in ChatGPT, I'm in Manus. I have been going back and forth, back and forth. I have my terminal on. I have a lot of questions because today I had a lot of chat responses from Indra. He was sending me so many messages. I have configured so many things yesterday, and now for some reason he keeps sending me messages. If you can see right here, these are all messages. If you can see, I can keep scrolling. I can keep scrolling, right? This is March 5th, but today, right, from this point, 12:25 a.m. 12:25 a.m. right? Every 20 minutes something fires and something similar to this comes alert, right? And it was doing something. My second app is being built. My first app is still in the pipeline. And for some reason it keeps saying this morning it was alright. I mean, it tried to do something, it failed, and it retried. And for some reason it says 25 tests, 0 failures. I interpret it as it ran 25 tests and none of them failed. But the verdict is fail. So I need to do some fine tuning. This is I guess this is a smoke test which it has done to see if the responses are being sent to Telegram. And as you can see, it is sending me messages non-stop. It's 1 a.m. non-stop, 120, 125, 122, non-stop messages, 125, right? Again, something here happening, another agent spawned, retry, build fix. And if you really look, for me, right, when I looked into it, it keeps saying there is an issue with the delivery of heartbeat. Let me rephrase it and deliver it directly here. So this is an internal conversation, the thinking or the reasoning for Indra that he is doing inside the OpenClaw, right? And his thinking is being sent to me. I don't know what I did, but now I can literally see what his thought process is, how he is reasoning, and then he'll send me something. But he sends me the actual thoughts that he's having. This is not the actual response. This is not the report that he wants to send to me, right? The response is, given this, I will send a heartbeat OK message to G indicating that everything is in good health. And heartbeat OK is the only output that I should have gotten. But he sent me, based on the output, it appears that all repositories have complete markers, blah, 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 blah. There are no pending complete markers, blah, 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 blah. And then he says, I have to send this message to me indicating that it is in good health. And he sends me that and no reply in the same message. I have done so many changes yesterday. I said, whatever is happening, let me just watch for the rest of the day. So I kept it 5:14 a.m. going on, 5:44 a.m. going on, and then keeps going, keeps going. It appears that the channel ID is missing or incorrect. This happened so many times, right? Channel ID is missing. Cron state sessions. Here is a summary. And state.json file not found, right? And again, channel ID missing, chat ID, same channel ID, chat ID, the same thing. And current pipeline state. This is the one of the messages that is actually right and the output that I want to see. This one is actually the response or output that I wanted it to give to me, and it actually nailed it. I'm not sure what cron job or what heartbeat it belongs to, but this is what I want to keep and get rid of all the other ones because they are just nonsense that I don't really care about, right? This, and it seems there's an issue sending heartbeat summary directly to Telegram channel. Same thing. And if you remember, it's the same response. It thinking that everything is good and telling itself that heartbeat is clear and replying that to me. And I said, I love the idea, but don't understand why I am getting and why. X, Y, Z. You're not crazy. These messages are contradictory because multiple automations are talking at once. So there's heartbeat every 0 minutes, meaning I have disabled it. It seems there is an issue again. Current state of app pipeline system, slot 1, slot 2, and there are a lot of backlogs going on. Session list, state.json file does not exist. Remember this one? State.json file does not exist again, twice. And again, another one does not exist. Does not exist. Does not exist. Same thing happening, 12:04. So I had a whole day of messages. Oh, I'm keep going on. It keeps going, it keeps going, it keeps going. Boy, keeps going, keeps going, keeps going. And this is the latest message, 7:45. The time now is 7:58. There are no stalled slots or pending tasks that require immediate attention. The pipeline appears to be operating normally with all phases moving forward without any significant delays. Here is a concise summary of the findings. No stalled slots, no pending complete files, no tasks waiting for completion markers. Since there are no issues, I will now reply with heartbeat OK. Heartbeat OK. So there's a lot of things happening, and I got so sick of seeing all of this. It's only been 1 day, and I'm sick of seeing this. My whole point of creating this Telegram bot chat is to have an identity or conversation with Indra, so he can report back to me and I can ask him of any summaries or what's happening, to-dos, all the high level stuff. But these is just garbage, pure junk, except a couple, 2 to 3 responses. Everything else is just junk. I really don't care for those. So what I have done for the past 2 hours, I was in deep session. I had conversations with Claude. I had this going on in one. You can see I had a whole conversation here. I can keep. There you go. I was in ChatGPT. This is bigger than Claude because I have started doing it in ChatGPT because I figured out ChatGPT had came out with 5.4, and I was doing it excuse me. I was trying out the ChatGPT 5.4, and I had a big prompt on what I want it to do, what research I wanted that from it. and it gave me the output I wanted to see, but not really accurate. You know what I mean? You know how chatbots, when you give them an instruction or a prompt, they give you a response based on how they interpret it, and they give you the output based on their research. It could be biased, it could not be completely honest and true. They could be forgetting most of it, they could be um, inflating most of the values. Like I specifically said, and this is a tip by the way, I always ask them to give me a confidence score from 0 to 1, and why do you think that you think it's a confidence score of so and so, and they will have to explain themselves and why they think they have such a high confidence score, right? And I have been using it for the last couple days, and I had a whole conversation about OpenClaw, what it is capable of doing, what does the documentation say, and I had a conversation about that. And the second conversation I had was, okay, based on so and so and so, why don't you go into the social media outlets, Reddit, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, online forums, and check and see what are the actual use cases that are being utilized or showcased as of right now, right? So it went to Reddit, Twitter, and found some use cases that I have not even heard of. They might be true, I'm not saying they are not, but I didn't really expose myself to so and so said outputs. So what I said was, I explicitly said, since my goal is to create an autonomous app factory where my agent can generate apps 24/7 and have autonomy over all the pipeline or phases, whatever you may call it. So I wanted it to reference Kelly Claude on Twitter. Anybody who don't know about Kelly Claude is an OpenClaw AI agent that autonomously generates, builds ideas, and ships apps to the App Store autonomously. My take on this is, it says autonomously, but from my experience for the past week, I would say if you are starting out, the mistake I made was I had this big grand vision, or now I say it's an illusion, that all of what I wanted was more of a fantasy. It was magical, and I said I wanted this to happen, I want that to happen. And AI, from they have a memory file. Doesn't matter if it's ChatGPT, Claude, Manus, Perplexity, Gemini, Grok, all of them, they have consistent memory on what you chat on a consistent basis. So it had some prior chats about me having these fantastical ideas about what I want it to look like, what I want the agent to do, what I am looking to build. So it kind of accumulates all of those outputs and builds something on top of it and gives us a response which is not always grounded, which is not always true, which is sometimes more biased to your opinions. And most of the times AI tend to agree to everything you say because that's how they are programmed, to not hurt your feelings. Again, I just got a message on Telegram from Indra. It says state.json file does not exist. I'm for sure this file exists. I know this file exists. March 6, 8:03 Now it's 8:05. Interesting. To be clear, based on the current timestamp, and there are no known stalled slots or pending complete items that require attention. I have stopped paying attention because it is so filled with junk. So what I had done in a nutshell, because I need to go and build it out. I need to stop talking about it. In a nutshell, I have had a grand idea and I built it out, and that's what I had been doing for the past week, and it is all going down fast. I mean, real fast, because I don't know what I'm building at this point, and I don't know where I am going. I just know the end point, but I don't know how to get there, and I'm leaving everything to AI to decide for me and do it, which even now it's not as sophisticated. So if you are trying to build out something that you have been thinking about for a long time, do have a plan of action. Talk about it to different AI. Do not rely on just one chatbot. That's kind of a mistake I made too as a beginner, but I don't do it anymore. I at least have 2 to 3 AI, cross-reference each other's chat and give their 2 cents on that other agent's response. That's what I did. I had OpenClaw, I had whole conversation with OpenClaw, and the outputs, I just copied the whole output with my input, maybe without my input, just the output, and I gave it to Claude saying, hey, understand everything I will paste to you in the below and give me your 2 cents on it, and Ralph loop yourself. If you don't have practical evidence or creative thinking or solid reasoning behind it, you are failed in the process, so understand it completely step by step. A prompt that I gave it so it understands what I had a conversation and gives its own 2 cents. So I did that in here, and I pasted the same into Manus, and Manus had done its own thinking and reasoning, gave me its 2 cents. What I noticed is ChatGPT and Manus, they kind of give the same responses. It's kind of weird. This is my first time noticing it. ChatGPT 5.4, Manus 1.6 Lite is what I'm using. I'm using the free version on Manus, but I'm using the pro version on ChatGPT. Whatever ChatGPT said in terms of output, Manus, I'm not saying Manus is following ChatGPT or ChatGPT is following Manus, but the outputs that I got both from ChatGPT 5.4 thinking and Manus 1.6 Lite are more or not the same, you know. It's kind of the same. They kind of talk about a bunch of things, but at the end they kind of say the same thing. But Claude had a completely different opinion. It agreed to what is right, what they have got, what ChatGPT had gotten right, and I completely disagree with so and so. It did disagree with so and so. For example, I gave it Kelly Claude references to ChatGPT and the same, and took the output and gave it to Claude, and Claude said I gave the same resources and everything, PDFs and books and everything that I gave to ChatGPT, I gave to Claude, and also the output from ChatGPT, and I said take your time, analyze this and give me your take on this, right? So most of it, if you can see, it kind of agrees with it, but gives a more grounded approach, and it doesn't really go beyond what ChatGPT had given, because it thinks ChatGPT is overinflating the confidence scores, so it doesn't, from what I see, and most of the times what it says is true, because I have given it a book and told it to understand the book and give me the game plan and what the book says and how it's going to help us in our building of Indra. And it actually gave a quote from the book. The book is around 250 pages, right? A quote from the book saying, in quotes, this is what the book says, This is the quote. This is the exact chapter number. If you and ChatGPT had gotten it completely wrong. And I looked and I opened the book. Opened the book in 2.4. It said 2.4. This is the exact code it gave me. The agent is the brain. Tools are hands. Without tools, the agent can only talk. With tools, it can do things. Right? Claude quoted this and gave it to me. ChatGPT did not do it. Manus did not do it. They said they understand what the content of the book is, and I gave a surface level understanding on what it means. Okay. So from then on, I was doing it with multiple sessions. I'm taking the outputs from ChatGPT, giving it to Manus and Claude, and I'm taking the output from Claude and giving it to Claude, giving it output from Claude and giving it to Manus and ChatGPT. I keep saying open because the tab for ChatGPT says OpenClaw overview. That's why I keep referencing to it,
Testing.
as that. Again, now I'm at a point where I have a game plan in the implementing guide.md, which Claude had given me. I took that guide and I gave it to ChatGPT and Manus. They have given me their output. Now I think I have caught you up to speed. I'm going to take the copy and I'm going to start doing what I had been doing for the last 2 hours. So this is the output from ChatGPT. Don't mind my typing skills. ChatGPT. No. This is what ChatGPT thinks about your, come on dude, implementation guide. Understand it and wait for my other message. Bam, and I'm gonna go to Manus. Manus had its own thinking, so download, markdown, go here, down. This is what Manus thinks about your implementation guide. Now that you have oh no, how both of the opinions from other models, what do you think about it? Don't be biased to your output. Hell with that. If you'd messed up anything, agree to it. And if you did not mess up and you think yours is really the way to go and you have thought about it before giving me that guide, stand behind it. Do not fumble, and make sure you have a fair and honest opinion. Digest this content from a third person perspective and give me your output on this, because this is critical and we are going to re-implement everything for OpenClaw let's see what is said here. Honest reaction. Most of that critique is fair. The strongest hits are the ones I should have caught myself. Apps.md as a markdown table is genuinely too weak for orchestration. The one human gate doctrine is premature for a system that has not proven itself once. And the post-ship loop being absent is a real gap. The who wins when files disagree question is the kind of thing that kills real systems, and I did not address it. The V1, V2, V3 staging recommendation is basically what I told you after analyzing the first two documents. Build one single app through the pipeline manually, document every intervention point. Those become automation targets. ChatGPT arrived at the same conclusion from the other direction. Strip the guide down to something that can actually survive contact with reality before scaling. Where I think it slightly overcorrects. It rates day one implementability at 5 out of 10, but the guide does have a 30-day roadmap that starts with manual runs in week 1. The guide is not asking you to flip a switch and go autonomous on day 1. But the presentation makes it feel that way because the full architecture is front-loaded before the phase rollout section, waiting for your next message. Okay? Alright, third person lens, no ego. Let me go through both critiques point by point, score myself honestly, and tell you what the final guide should actually look like. Let me practice my fluency as well, my speech. Clarity of speech. So there's a tip when you take if you want to improve your communication, or if you want to have clear, not so fumbling speech, try this trick. Take a pen, place it between your teeth, and start reading whatever you are reading out loud for at least 1 to 5 minutes. I do it for however long I can do it. It is not good. It doesn't look as fancy, but it does have a real impact. I had noticed it. So what you do is when you have the pen between your teeth, you start pitching everything or stressing every word. So you're pronouncing everything and stressing it to the extreme. So the next time when you say the word, you have a more clear way of saying it, so the other person gets what you're saying. Look up this pen trick and you will know more about it. Where ChatGPT is right and I messed up. Apps.md as a markdown table. ChatGPT is correct. Confidence 0.95. This is genuinely my biggest miss. A markdown table for pipeline state is fine for a human dashboard, but terrible for orchestration. When Indra needs to decide what project needs attention next, parsing a markdown table is fragile. This should be factory state.json or SQLite, something the router can query programmatically. The irony is, I know this from your database administration background. I should have written a proper data layer. I was so focused on making the guide readable that I made the state store human friendly at the expense of being machine reliable. Reliable. Verdict, I was wrong. Replace apps.md with a structured JSON or SQLite state store. One human gate is too aggressive for V1. ChatGPT is correct. Okay. So Claude is agreeing that ChatGPT is correct. And it has a confidence score of 0.93 that ChatGPT is correct. which is impressive. ChatGPT came true. ChatGPT came true. Alright. I got seduced by the Kelly V4 screenshots showing one operator checkpoint, but Kelly V4 is the fourth iteration of a system that was built incrementally. That's right. Your V1 should have human gates after research. Is this idea worth building? And before shipping, is this ready for Apple? At minimum, I said as much in my earlier analysis. Build one app manually, document every intervention point, but then my guide contradicted that I advised by designing a one gate system. I was inconsistent with my own recommendations. Verdict: I was wrong. V1 needs at minimum 3 human gates. I'm not sure if you can hear me. Post research, QA, and pre-ship. Oh. Boy. Alright. Post-ship loop is absent. ChatGPT is correct. Confidence 0.97. Look at this. If Claude is giving me confidence scores close to 1, I feel much more confident in implementing it, because Claude never gives you something close to 1 from my experience. ChatGPT does that. Claude doesn't often do that unless it's absolutely logical and makes sense. Okay? So I'm going to take his word on this. This is embarrassing because I literally critiqued the first document for the same gap. I said the pipeline ends at ship in spirit about the other AI's output, and then I built a guide that ends at ship in spirit. It is agreeing that it has messed up. Analytics, crash monitoring, review mining, revenue tracking, ASO optimization, and the kills or scale decision are where the factory part of App Factory lives. Without it, Indra is an app shipper, not an app business. We need to build a business. We're going to build a business. It's going to take a little bit of time though. Verdict: I was wrong. Phase 6. Okay, verdict, let's see. Monitor plus iterate needs to be of first class phase, not probes. Well, anybody that just tuned in, I'm going to rebuild my OpenClaw from scratch, and this is the research process that is going into it before I redo it all. But this time I at least have a clear vision and an implementation guide that I can fall back to and address it or give it as reference for Cloud Code or OpenClaw, so they know what I'm talking about, at least with systems. If you don't have systems in place, you can't really automate it. You can't really replicate it. You can't really do it in scale. Okay? Any business model you take, there are systems in place. It is not dependent on one individual. Okay? It is spread out, and no matter, even if the CEO leaves and somebody new comes in, there are systems in place for him to go through, read, understand, and follow, or update and modify, so he doesn't have to start from scratch. That is what I'm trying to replicate here. Okay? My ultimate goal is to create something. If you want something passive, if you're aiming for passive income or active income, doesn't matter, but if you're for passive income specifically, if you don't have systems in place, you are not gonna achieve truly passive income. You're always gonna have to be in the loop. There's always something gonna break. and you're always gonna be like, I'm always working on this. There's nothing passive about this. How is this passive? Because you have not done systems engineering or systems thinking. If it even doesn't matter if it's a software, doesn't matter if it's a brick and mortar, doesn't matter if you're doing it in any industry. If there is no systems, if that job or that role cannot be replicated in such a way that somebody else can join in the position and start working on it in a matter of week, then you didn't really build a system. It takes time for people to adapt to a system. So I give at least 3 to 6 days, so they get adapted to the system. But it should be easy enough for them to implement. It doesn't matter if it's AI or human. AI should also have a guideline. And I just had a realization today that what is my goal? I want an AI agent that can do what I'm envisioning it to do, right? And I keep going to AI and asking it to build something and give me this brilliant autonomous app factory that keep generating apps 24/7, submitting, approving, and making money on the side. But how do you expect the AI to do it if there is no base, or if you haven't done it yourself? I haven't done any of this myself, so I have no clue what I am talking about. So my realization today was, work with AI. If it messes up, start with something very basic and simple. If it messes up, literally tell the AI that you messed up. This is what I was expecting. This is what you gave me. And next time, take this as a learning and update your systems. So next time if you face something like this, you have a reference point to what to do, what not to do, how to react, or what steps to take before reaching out to me and asking me for my advice, and act on it. Generate a report on what you did, and then give me a report on all the actions you have taken, so I can look into it and see if you had any realization, or did you really learn from that experience. And you keep appending to that file or that system from numerous experiences or mistakes. You only get better by improving on your past experiences. Even it doesn't matter if it's success or a failure. Improve, improve, improve. If you want to be stagnant, take a success and replicate it. If you want to grow, take a success and improve on it. That's my 2 cents. Anyway, literally tell the AI what you want it to do. If it messes up, correct it and tell it to take this as a guidance or source of truth and act on this and update on this and be proactive. The AI does not get it right the first time. Maybe this is my skill issue. I am still learning. Most people say that they get it right the first time. Good for you, congratulations. But I personally am learning with AI. I'm personally in the loop. I want to be on the loop, which will happen pretty soon. Well, let me go back to reading this. Cost model is optimistic. ChatGPT is partially right. Confidence 0.80. Cost model. Okay, it's talking about this. The $7 to $15 range I gave is genuinely a happy path estimate, but I don't think I was wrong, as ChatGPT implies. The cost buckets are realistic for phase on the first successful pass. What I failed to account for is the rework multiplier. If build takes 3 attempts and test sends you back twice, the real cost is 2 to 3 times a happy path. I should have presented it as happy path 7 to 15, realistic with retries 20 to 40, worst case $50 plus per app. In which universe $50 per app a worst case scenario? Question yourself. 5 years back, 10 years back, 5 years back, would you what would you say to somebody, or you telling somebody or asking somebody, requesting somebody to generate you an app, and then they giving you a quote for $50 for the whole app? I would say, take my money, build it, take your time, get back to me. I would give him $50 and I'll give him a tip of $50. $50, I do not see it as a worst case scenario. For AI, you might think, oh, it's AI, it should not be doing so and so and so. No AI gets it right the first time. This, I can accept this. For the first couple builds, I'll take it. Why not? And then improve on it. And then I'll get it from 50 to 40, 40 to 20, 20 to 15, 15 to 7. Why? We need to go to the happy path. We need to reduce the retries. Meaning, if you have more systems in place, more tests, more quality control, then you learn from that mistakes for the apps 1 and 2, and you implement it in apps 3, 4, 5. So now you have a stack of what to expect, where the majority of bugs might come from, errors might pop up. Have a developer mindset, systems thinking. Again, verdict, partially wrong. The numbers are not fictional, but presenting only the best case without the realistic range was misleading. Agents.md is overloaded. ChatGPT is correct. Confidence 0.8. It says confidence is 0.8, meaning it does not really agree. It agrees but doesn't agree. You know what I mean? I crammed routing rules, agent roster, gate policy, Ralph protocol, memory policy, and heartbeat policy into one file. One file. The handbook uses agents.md as an operating manual, but my version turned it into a constitution. In practice, that file would be thousands of tokens at session start. Thousands of tokens. Eating into context before any real work begins. The split ChatGPT suggests agents.md for roles and routing principles, separate protocol files for procedures, separate state store for data is cleaner. Verdict, I was wrong. Agents.md should be leaner. I already created protocol files, but then duplicated their content inside agents.md anyway. Oh, look. Conflict resolution when files disagree. ChatGPT is correct. Confidence 0.95. Bro. What about Manus? It keeps referring to ChatGPT. Where is Manus? Oh, it's there. It's in the bottom. It's in the bottom. Okay. This is the kind of systems engineering question I should have anticipated when... What did I say? Systems engineering. I didn't even look at it, and I said systems engineering, and AI are talking about it. And this is how you know you and AI are in the same thinking process. You're in the zone. You know that you want it to be aligned with systems engineering, systems thinking. And if the AI also says and agrees to systems engineering without you actually telling it to think about systems engineering, now you and AI are kind of in the same frequency. You know what I mean? When factory state.json says phase 3, but the latest gate log says the build gate failed, what does the router do? I never defined precedence rules. The answer should be Structured state store is the single source of truth. Gate decisions update the state store. Artifacts are evidence, logs are audit trail. State store wins every time. Verdict: I was wrong. Need explicit precedence rules with one canonical source of truth. I'm just counting. It was wrong once. It was wrong twice. Again, it was wrong 3 times. It was wrong 4 times. 5. 6. Wow. If I had implemented what Claude had given me, this is, I'm not making stuff up. I'm just literally copying and pasting output from one chatbot to another chatbot, because chatbots make mistakes. They do not get everything right the first time, second time, or even the third time. They need some external input. In this case, my input is output from another chatbot given as input to another chatbot. Simple, right? But having said that, where ChatGPT overcorrects, now we're talking to where Claude sticks to what it had said initially and why it still wants to go with that path and why it disagrees, okay? V1 should be router plus 3 leads max. I partially disagree. It means I disagree. Dude, yo bro, I disagree with whatever you said. Confidence 0.70. This is being tries not to be mean. It's just I partially disagree with it. To hell with that. I disagree. ChatGPT says strip to 3 agents. I think that's too aggressive in the other direction. You don't need all 7 agents on day 1, but you do need the conceptual separation between research, planning, build, test from the start. If you collapse planning into build, the builder agent will skip architectural thinking and just start coding. That's the powerful autocomplete trap from the first document. I'd say V1 should have 5 roles: router, research, planning, build, test. Ship is semi-manual, that's not 7, but it's not 3 either. No self-improvement rights except a simple failure log. I disagree. Confidence 0.7, huh? Writing failures to a log is already self-improvement. The question is whether the system reads that log and acts on it. I agree you should not have an elaborate weekly review cron on day 1, but having memory.md update after each significant event is core to the architecture, not a VTuber feature. The whole point is that the system wakes up smarter each session. If you defer that, you have built a stateless pipeline, not a learning system. Cron is too broad for early stage. I partially agree, partially disagree. Confidence 0.7. The morning briefing and end of day memory write are genuinely useful from day 1. They cost almost nothing and they build the operational log that makes everything else possible. The 2-hour heartbeat and weekly review and app store monitoring, yeah, those can wait until 2v2, but 0 cron is too bare. Okay, now let's move on to Manus. Let's see if Manus is right. Manus, ma, mature, Manus, Manus, man, see, man, us, Manus. Hardcore gauge with shell scripts. Manus is correct. Cloud Code is just bending over and just saying, I was wrong, these agents are right. But I like it though. I told it to be honest and ground yourself. Do not be biased to your input. This is good. If it had said no, this is wrong, they are wrong, they are wrong, they are wrong, I would have said to hell. I don't agree, because now this chatbot, this model is learning more from other models, right? Now I kinda have all three agents working in the same chat in a way, right? In one chat's output. If you think about it, I have three different people's opinion mixed up in one group chat, and now the team leader is or the one of the person in the team is giving in complete overlapped, bias free summary or presentation. This is the single best actionable recommendation from either critique. It says Manus did it right. More than ChatGPT, more than Claude. Okay. Don't let the LLM decide if a gate passes by reading a file and interpreting it. Hardcode gates with shell scripts. I said do not hardcode anything. Be dynamic. I hate being static. Let's say you program it to having Cloud Opus 4.6 and in 1 month Cloud 5 comes out and you have hard coded your file to only use Cloud Opus 4.6. Guess what? Everybody else who didn't do that is going up and you're going ooh, ooh. You know what I mean? I hate hard coded values unless absolutely necessary and it doesn't actually hurt anything. Let's say if I hard code my agent's name to Indra, that's what I want, so I don't mind it having hard coded. You know what I mean? And besides, you can change it anyway, but it requires manual involvement. But if a gate passes by reading a file, reading it, interpreting it, write a shell script. Does research summary.md exist? Is it non-empty? Does it contain the string gate ready? Return 0 or 1. The router calls the script, gets a binary answer. No hallucination possible. See? This is exactly the kind of thing I should have included. Concrete gate scripts, not just gate definitions. Self-flattery loop. Manus is correct. Confidence 0.90. If Twister builds with Sonnet and Dharma tests with Sonnet, they share the same blind spots. The multi-model strategy is not optional for the build or test pair. It's mandatory. Dharma should use a different model family than Twister for code review. If Twister uses Claude Sonnet, Dharma's code review pass should use GPT-4o or Gemini. The functional tests, does it compile, do tests pass, are model independent, but the qualitative review needs a different perspective. Xcode or Fastlane is the real last mile. Manus is correct, confidence 0.95. I covered this in the what can go wrong section, but underrated it in the actual implementation plan. In reality, the first 3 to 5 ship attempts will be semi-manual while you build up the Fastlane configuration, provisioning profiles, and certificate management. The 18-step protocol is correct as a target, but executing it fully autonomously on day 1 is a fantasy. See where Manus is too generous. Manus calls it a world-class implementation plan and rates confidence 0.94. That's too high given the real gaps ChatGPT found. If I'm being brutally honest with myself, architecture quality 7.5 for 10. The state score, conflict resolution, post-ship loop are real gaps. Day 1 implementability 6 out of 10, not 5, because the study there roadblock does stage things, but the front-loaded Full architecture creates false expectations, over engineering risk, moderate to high. ChatGPT is right about this. Salvage ability very high. The bones are solid, the flesh needs trimming. Oh, where I stand firm. There are things in my guide that both critiques either validated or did not challenge, and I believe these are genuinely correct. The deity mapping is not cosmetic, it's operational. Each agent has a specific role, model assignment, capability set, and output contract. The names happen to be Hindu deities because that's your background and it makes the system memorable. But the architecture beneath them is the Kelly router pattern with explicit role separation. Multi-model routing is essential, not optional. Both critiques agreed. No single model should be the foundation. The routing table with primary or fallback per task type is the right pattern. Ralph is the right escalation model. Neither critique challenged the tired retry. Model escalation, approach change, operator escalation flow. It's a clean implementable pattern. The file-backed workspace is the right continuity mechanism. Both critics agreed. Files as the source of truth, with the model reconstructing context at session start, is the correct architecture for OpenClaw based systems. The doctrine router does not work, gates are law, fail loud is correct. This is the actual insight from everything we analyzed. Both critiques validated it. My honest final verdict on my own work. I built a good architecture document and a mediocre implementation plan. The what is right, the how quickly is wrong. I designed for the system Indra should become in 3 months, not the system you should build this week. The specific corrections needed: replace apps.md with factory underscore state.json, machine readable single source of truth with explicit precedence over all other files, slim down agents.md, roles and routing principles only, everything else lives in protocols, add phase 6, monitor and iterate, analytics 6, monitor and iterate, analytics, revenue, reviews, crash monitoring, kill or scale decisions. Add 2 more human gates for version 1, post research and pre-ship. Add shell script gate validators. Binary pass fail, no LLM interpretation. Enforce cross-model auditing. Dharma must use a different model family than Twister for code review. Present realistic cost range. Worst case $50 plus. Cut V1 cron to just morning briefing and end of the day memory write. Make ship semi-manual for first 3 to 5 apps while building fast lane reliability. Add conflict resolution rules, state store greater than, gate decisions greater than, artifact greater than, logs. Okay, so this is the most important file, state store. The architecture stands. The deployment timeline needs compressing into a real version 1, version 2, version 3 progression. Do you want me to rebuild the guide with these corrections incorporated, or are you ready to start with the corrected V1 spec? Oh. I want you to rebuild the guide with these corrections incorporated. What is Indra doing again? He keeps sending me, remember this? So since no issues were detected, I will now reply with heartbeat underscore okay. That's his thinking process. This is the actual outcome, and he sent me this and that. I don't really care for it though. I have codecs with 150 tokens in use at 8:44 p.m. Updated about a minute ago. Runtime direct thinking disabled. Oh boy. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take that and give it to Claude and say, this is the very in-depth session I had. Wait a minute, let me open in the... This is a very in-depth conversation I had with multiple LLM models, and I came to a conclusion of this file, which has the content about how to build my OpenClaw agent from scratch, what to do, what not to do, what needs to be in place, what needs to be the source of truth, and all the other fun stuff. I want you to understand this file, digest the information step by step, line by line. Do not skip anything. Once you do that, do a Ralph loop on your understanding and make sure that you got everything right, and question yourself. Do not accept the file as the source of truth, but understand what needs to be the source of truth based on the file as a reference and what needs to be implemented. Be strict and have a confidence score on everything that you judge and give a response. After that, I want you to interpret this into our current OpenClaw situation and tell me if this can be achieved with rewriting or completely modifying the existing OpenClaw directory, or do we need to erase the existing directory completely and then reinstall OpenClaw from scratch? Let me know your honest, doable, executable plan. No fluff, no AI slop. Slop. I said slop. Not slap, slop. S-L-O-P. Slap, slap. I said slap. Oh boy. Okay, I have that done, that done. Which one is it? Which one is it? This one. This is the big one. Let me build it right. Every correction is incorporated. V1, V2, V3 staged properly. State store fixed. Gates hardened. Post ship loop added. Sometimes when it does this, it might forget whatever it just said, and it happens, man. AI is not right all the way, so it happens. Anthropic API key, I have Cloud Code, sorry. OpenAI API key, GPT-4o for research, 4o mini for boilerplate, 5. GPT 2.5 for long context. And there's my mama. Alright guys, I'm gonna keep doing this after talking to mama. I will get back to you tomorrow.